YouTubians, ODYSEEans, Slayin' Saiyans, Cobra Kais, and greetings to my pumpkins that are smashing. Welcome. And if you don't identify as any of those things, like if you're not a YouTubian, an ODYSEEan, a Slayin' Saiyan, a Cobra Kai, or a pumpkin who be smashing, welcome. You're welcome also. Whoever you are, however you identify, welcome. I am Asherella. This is Original Asherella, and it is so stinking cold outside. I do not like the cold weather. I am so over these, teen degrees and single digit degrees. I am not a cold weather kind of gal, and the only really good thing about the cold weather is that it gives me plenty of excuses to layer my pumpkins hoodies under my coat and stuff like that. I have a ton of pumpkins hoodies and I do wear them year round, but it's never gonna be too cold for a pumpkins hoodie, you know what I mean? And so I love that. And I recently got my new pumpkin scarf. I've been eyeballing this and really wanting it for a while. You can get it from the Smashing Pumpkins website store, but it is the Infinite Dingbats scarf, or the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness Icons scarf. And so I'm definitely happy to have that in this super frigid and chilly weather. And I've often thought, my dream in life would be having a job in the pumpkins verse in some capacity, and if that were to ever become a reality for me, there is a possibility I would have to move to a climate that is colder than down here in North Carolina, like Chicago, and that is the only way that I would, I think, be able to tolerate or enthusiastically live in one of these cities in which the winter gets into the teens and the single digits regularly and stays that way for a really long time. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about my scarf. We're not talking about the weather. We're going to be talking about Billy Corgan and an interview he did about 6 months ago. Now, those who pay attention know that about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, we watched an interview from 2015 of Billy. And I really like watching older interviews and kind of seeing how things have gone since then and seeing what he's saying in relation to what he was saying then. And I thought that was a really good interview because that was 2015, 10 years ago. The band was in a very, very different space then than they are now. And today we're going to be watching one for much more recently. This is from August 10th, 2024, just about 6 months ago. And now, August 10th was a pretty big day. It was about a week after the release of Aghori Mhori Mei. And, the Pumpkins did this amazing drop of Aghori Mhori Mei. We only had about 2 weeks notice to know that it was going to be released. And we were getting a brand new Pumpkins album on August 2nd. A week later, we've got this interview that we're about to watch. So, the album was getting really good response at this point, and it still is, actually. Everybody in the Pumpkins verse, the band, the fandom, everybody was, really riding high in this moment. I'm still riding high on the Aghori Mhori Mei release, and I know several of my pumpkin peer friends are as well, but just kind of give you an idea of what's going on about 6 months ago with the band, with Billy, with everything when this video was released and shared. And this is from ABC News Nightline, I think. I promise you, those of you that are like me, that have been there from the beginning through the nitty-gritty, in the ups, in the downs, the lifelong Pumpkins fans, there's a couple of things that Billy talks about and says in this interview that is going to get you. It's going to get you in the feels. It's going to get you in the feels. You're about to get punched in the heart, stabbed in the emotions. It's going to be a good one. So I am really excited to watch this with you guys and share my thoughts and feels on it. And we're doing that in just 1 second. But before we do, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on ODYSEE, follow the channel. You can gently press the notification bell on either platform so you know every time I upload a video. Don't blast it. Don't beat it up. Just gently press the notification bell. Leave me a like. Leave me a comment. Buy me a coffee. Buy something from my Macari shop. Go to your social things, especially your Insta thing, and follow me on my Insta thing. ABC News Nightline interview with William Patrick Corgan, August 10th, 2024. The summer tour is going so well. The European tour had went so well. And the Pumpkins are just in this super elevated space at the end of the summer here. This is actually only a couple weeks before I saw the Pumpkins live this past summer. Just putting that out there. But I think it's so crazy to see, like, Billy in this interview that we're about to watch versus Billy in the interview that we watched from 2015. It's like he is in such a different space with the band. He is in such a different space in his personal life. Like, he is in such a different place with his personal relationships with other band members. And things are just, like, so different from Billy, just like 10 years later. And, you know, I just think, I love this. I love Billy's energy here. And, like, that last interview, he was happy, he was positive, he was up. But there's just a different vibe in this one, and you guys will pick up on that too. So let's watch it.
The Smashing Pumpkins are back with brand new music. The alt-rock pioneers, older, wiser, and more interested in impressing their kids than critics. Here's ABC's Ashin Singh.
Billy, welcome to Nightline, man.
Thank you. I was on Nightline in '94 with Ted Koppel, so it's quite an honor to be back.
It's pretty unbelievable. You're an old friend of the show.
Yeah.
I have got to find that interview. I'm going to find it. We'll watch it.
I feel like OG, you know.
Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins.
But yeah, Nightline, of course, such a great history.
And congrats on the new record, Aghori Mhori Mei. How does it feel to put it out?
Feels good, you know. There was this vibe in the music industry for a while that if you were a band with some years on you, that fans didn't really care about new music, and that's really changing the last couple of years. And people are really seeing the connection between an artist putting out new music and, of course, selling tickets. So we're really excited because we're
real quickly. I think that is so tragic that people do sort of have that attitude, and like Billy was saying, it is kind of changing, but like, you know, why would we not want new music from these bands from like the 90s and, you know, bands that have been around for a while? It's like, there's a reason they've been around for a while. And it's like, you know, if the Pumpkins went out and played shows and played all their old stuff and didn't put out new music, yeah, I would go see it. But I love that the Pumpkins have continued to put out new albums, great albums. This album that is so amazing and great. It's like, you know, Pumpkins, for example, it's like, why would you not want that band that created those feelings that stirred up in you when you listened to like 1979, for example? Why would you not be interested in what else they could do, what other emotions and feelings they could potentially stir up in you? Like, I love new music from these older bands because, you know, I mean, they have the capacity to create so much emotion, so much feels, and bring so much into my life. Why would I want them to stop doing that?
of course, looking at 20 more years of the band, where a couple years ago people told us we had no future.
Yeah, fans know you from those iconic tracks like 1979. How would you describe that sound to someone who's living under a rock?
It's kind of emotional sound. It's a big guitar sound. It was nice to kind of get back there and sort of remember where we came from, and somehow it all came together.
And you literally brought the band back together. You got James Iha and Jimmy Chamberlain on the record. What was it like working with those guys again?
Like any family, putting the band back together, making peace with your brothers. I think that's the real story of the band. Mm-hmm. Letting the music be the thing that heals us and want us provide for our families. You know, we're all fathers in the family now. I think living long enough and having your audience grow with you, and that's part of our story. It's very humbling because when you start, you never think you're going to last more than a few years, right?
Speaking about those moments.
All right. Oh, my God, y'all. So, like, when I first watched this and I heard Billy say, you know, like, your family, like your band, your family, and putting your band back together and making peace with your brothers. Oh my God, because like, you know, Jimmy's been in and out of the picture over the years. But James, you know, there was like such a long period where Billy and James did not interact at all. And I've said this in prior videos, but those two together on stage right now, their interaction, their relationship on stage is as good, if not better, than it ever has been. Like, you sense that sense of camaraderie between them, even more so, I think, than we saw in like the early 90s before all of the drama. And, like James has been back with the band for a chunk of years now. It wasn't just like yesterday or last year that James rejoined, but I think, we were working toward this place that Billy and James are now, and their reconcile, it really shines through, like, when you see them interact. And I love it so much, and it hits me in the heart so much. And as far as Jimmy goes, like I said, he's been in and out over the years. And Billy and Jimmy's issues were very different issues than James and Billy's issues, and a lot of Jimmy's issues and Billy's issues were Jimmy's, substance abuse issues and leaving the band and that kind of thing. But Billy's always called Jimmy, like, his musical soulmate. And, just having them to, like, solidly back together again, and not just like Jimmy's there, he's in and out kind of thing. No, like, Jimmy is here, he's clean, he's been healthy for years now, and those three, like, the brotherhood that they once had, that they have, rekindled, is so apparent lately. And God, I love that so much. And Billy talking about, like, having, like, your fan base and your fandom, like, grow with you and be a part of it and go through it with you. It's like, that's us. That's me. That's you. Like, we have been a part of this journey that is the Pumpkins, that is the early Pumpkins and the breakdowns and the reconciliations. And, like, I don't know. I just, like, I got so emotional when I first watched this.
In the past, we do have a clip from MTV's documentary from 1995.
You're scaring me now. I'm sort of cowering. Here
let's play it right here.
I would hope we'd mature gracefully, but right now I don't really care, because thinking about the future and thinking about the past is really a way of avoiding the present. And all I know is that the present right now is very good.
I mean, it's pretty unbelievable watching that, right?
Who's that young man?
It's been almost 3 decades since that moment. What's it like reflecting on that idea of living really in the present?
None of us could have expected the changes that were going to happen in the music business. Now the rise of streaming services. It's created this whole new opportunity that we never could have imagined. So the young man you see talking there has no idea of what's coming. I was just dealing with the old school business, which was very exploitative, but it was kind of right in front of you. MTV, cover of Rolling Stone, sell records, sell tickets, and that's it. No one thought what was coming was coming,
You mentioned the business side. How about the personal?
Okay, really quickly, like, in the 2015 interview that we watched, Billy certainly talked about how the exploitation in the music industry has changed, pretty much because of the internet, and how, it's always been, like, exploitative. In that interview, he talks about, social media aspect of it. And in this interview, he talks about, like, the old school music business being very exploitative, like he just said, but it was in a much more obvious way than how the music industry is exploitative now, and it's a little more covert than it was in the 90s. It's like, yeah, you might have been being exploited, but you knew you were being exploited, and that's a little scary, and I think it's good that the band, my band, this band, the Smashing Pumpkins, are so much older and wiser, and can't fall victim as much to that type of exploitation than they were vulnerable to in the 90s.
Side, you talk about this idea of maturation. All of you guys are fathers now. How has it shaped your artistry, especially heading into this new record?
I'm an old dad. I'm 57. I have kids that are 8 and 5. Something I never realized looking at my son was I didn't want him to see me talking about what happened before he was born. I wanted him to experience my success in the present. So it really motivated me to get off my rear end and work hard and try to bring the band back to a place of prominence so that he could be proud of me. Because it felt weird to me to try to talk to him about something that happened 20, 30 years before he was born. I think it's the same for
Okay, real quickly, I do want to say, Billy has never been shy about showing his kids on social media. And we know that, like, maybe even as recently as that 2015 interview, Billy did not think that he kind of had come to terms with the fact that he may never be a father or have any children. Like, we have songs like Song for a Son, and there was this point in time in his life and in his career that he I think was kind of resolved to the fact that fatherhood was just not going to happen for him, even though that's something that he really wanted. And he always really wanted the opportunity to be the father that he wished he'd had. You know, we know that Billy's relationship with his father was awful, and his father was terribly abusive, and he wanted to be the opposite of that for his children. But at one point in time, it seemed like that might not happen. But now he's got 2 beautiful children and a 3rd one on the way. And, you know, being a celebrity's kids, there's a certain level of exposure and attention that you're just gonna get because Billy Corgan is your dad. And I think that he's really doing his children a service by, you know, he does put them on his social media. He takes them on tour. You know, he doesn't hide them away from the public like a lot of celebrities do, because he's kind of teaching them from a young age how to deal with this level of attention and this level of celebrity. And he's really kind of selective and specific about what he does share and show off. And, you know, it's never too much, but it's always kind of personal. Like, you know, you feel like you get to know his family life with his children and things like that a little bit. And Chloe, his wife, she puts the kids on social media too. But they have, I mean, to be very, very wealthy people, they seem to have kind of a down-to-earth family life. You know, we've seen Augustus like literally working at Madame Zuzu's in the shop making drinks, and you know, it's like I think they try to raise them to be as normal as they can possibly be in their circumstances. And like I said, I don't think that he's doing them any kind of disservice by, you know, getting them used to that type of attention at a young age. So whenever they get older and the parents aren't around to kind of shield them or, you know, filter what the public sees of them, they'll know how to do that for themselves. Because, you know, you do have celebrity children that are hidden away from the world, and then one day, you know, the parents aren't there to protect them anymore, and you see these kids go buck wild out in public. They get this attention that they don't know how to deal with. We've all seen that over the years. Now, I do want to say that I think that people tend to overshare way too much of their children online. I don't think that Billy and Chloe do that. Like, it's really easy for me to have an opinion because I don't have any kids. But I think there are people out there that share way, way, way too much of their kids online. You know, the internet can be very exploitative, even if you don't mean for it to be. Like, oversharing with your kids is a problem out there. And don't even get me started on like mom-fluencers and dad-fluencers and family vlogging. I think that shit is so unethical. I think that it is like the dirtiest kind of cash grab that you can strive for, honestly. Exploiting your kids for wealth and fame. And I think it's different with celebrities showing their kids and pieces of their kids' life because they're not using their kids for fame. They have this fame and they're like, you know, just sort of like adapting their kids to this life that they were born into. Does that, you guys get what I'm saying?
For the other guys in the band.
Do you talk to your kids about the Smashing Pumpkins through the decades?
Oh yeah, they've watched all the videos. They have a lot of questions, and my kids come on tour with me a lot. In fact, when we played with Green Day, they come on stage and they dance, and they're part of the show. So they get to experience that, but from their own perspective. And you can imagine what an 8-year-old thinks of a crowd of 40,000 people. He raises his hand and he's like, I raised my hand, but nobody cheered. It's like, it's a little bit harder than you got to raise your hand to get a cheer.
I would cheer for Augustus.
Buddy, you know, it's a tough game.
But let him learn that lesson early, you know what I mean? He's not going to get everything he wants just because he's Billy Corgan's kid. Do you guys think that Billy's kids will grow up to be like professional musicians? Do you think they're going to go into the music industry? Or do you think they will totally reject that and, you know, be like microbiologist or what? Let me know.
Out there.
The world is a vampire.
I mean, you're on a world tour with Green Day. You've got a tour of your own name called The World is Vampire. And
Sure.
any Smashing Pumpkins fan will know that that's a lyric from A Bullet with Butterfly Wings. So, Billy, I mean, brand new album, world tour.
I gotta stop and say, like, I think this guy did good. He's younger, so he probably did not grow up with listening to the Pumpkins. He's obviously done his research for this interview, as he should, but it is Bullet with Butterfly Wings, not A Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
3 decades plus in the game. You still having fun?
We used to say back in the day that the Pumpkins aren't about fun. And that's kind of our motto. We're really about creating.
The Pumpkins are about emotion.
Getting a different feeling. We're more of an emotional animal, and the people who are attracted to us are attracted to the fact that we sort of exist in our own oxygen. And so we do have fun, but it's not that other kind of fun. Let's put it that way.
All right, that's me and you. We do exist in our own other kind of oxygen. And I gotta say, I know I'm gonna sound like not like other girls. Pumpkins fans are a little bit different, aren't they? And you know, the Pumpkins versus the fandom, Pumpkinheads, Ghost Children, whatever you prefer to be called or call yourself as a Smashing Pumpkins fan. Like, Pumpkins fans don't come from any specific like age group or socioeconomic demographic or race or religion or anything. Like, the Pumpkins fandom is a very diverse one, you know? But we all have this sort of emotional similarity. It's like there's this very specific type of emotional thread, so to speak, that runs through all of us hardcores. You know what I mean? You, me, you know, the people that are regularly watching here, the hardcore fandom, we have this very specific emotional thread that goes through our body and through our veins and through our heart and through our brain. And kind of links back to my whole like subatomic soulmate thing in theory. I need to do a whole video on that because I mention it here and there, but I've never really explained it on the channel. But it's this whole scientific theory that goes back to the Big Bang, and it's sort of like cut from the same cloth. Like, you know, you and I probably share like a molecule or two from the same matter that existed when the Big Bang happened. So, you know, we've always been sort of linked, you know? But anywho, so I think that is so true with the Pumpkins fandom. And there are some other fandoms that are like that too, but not every band's fandom exists in our own oxygen, so to speak, the way Billy just described, but we so do.
Billy, thank you so much for joining us, man. And you can listen to the Smashing Pumpkins' new album, Aghori Mhori Mei, now anywhere you get your music online.
And you really should, 'cause
Every
it's
other
fantastic.
year. Why did Miss Stark feel the need to...
Why is Pepper Ann playing after the Smashing Pumpkins? All right, guys, that was an interview with Billy Corgan from August 10th, 2024, ABC News Nightline. I thought it was such a good one. I thought it was so much more personal than the 2015 interview. You know, like I said, we were in such a different spot. You know, Billy was very different. Now, Billy always stays very true to, like, his thoughts and his feelings and his opinions and his stance on stuff, and a lot of things that he said back in that 2015 interview, especially about like the music industry and that kind of thing, you know, sort of echoed in this interview a little bit. They talked about a little bit of different stuff, but you know, back then, that 2015, there was no Chloe, there was no children, there was no James and Jimmy around again, you know, so it was so different back then. And then this interview, the band is whole again. We just had a new album come out. You know, he's got his happy family that Billy's always wanted, and it is just it's the same Billy, but in just a different era, you know. Let me know what you guys thought about this interview. I loved it, and you know, like I said, the whole talking about James and Jimmy and, you know, getting the band back together and getting like with any family, he says, and really, I love it. And you know, the Pumpkins have been a lifelong passion, my unwavering, unconditional favorite band my whole life. They're such a huge part of like my entire life, and seeing moments like that and Billy talking about things like that, him and these other people that have meant so much to me over the years. It just, yes. I'm so glad we're back here now. You know what I mean? We're back to where we need to be, and it's just such a great feeling for those who feel like me. But anywho, that is it for today. I am Asherella. This is Original Asherella. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on ODYSEE, follow the channel. You can gently caress the notification bell on either of those platforms so you know every time I upload a video. I don't know why I started talking like that. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, buy me a coffee. You can do a one-time donation or you can do monthly donations. If you like me that much, go ahead and do it. You can go buy something from my Aghori shop. Go to Twitch, find Original Asherella on Twitch, and then tune in most Sundays at 8ish Eastern Standard Time for Kino and Commentary. It is a show that I co-host, so check that out. Go to your social things, especially your Insta thing. Find me on my Insta thing. Always tap in and never tap out. And don't forget to keep on smashing like a pumpkin.
But next to me.